Good to go?
Yep.
Hello, Internet. I'm Dan.
Sorry, I was not ready to go.
Sorry,
Sitting here like you just jumped right into it. All right.
Yeah. Hello, Internet. I'm Dan.
And I'm Chaz. This is the Wine is Serious Business Show, episode 76. Yeah. Today we're here with a guest. Exciting, drinking some Austrian wine. This is Dana Frank.
Hi, Internet.
There you go.
That's my first time saying hi to the Internet.
Yeah. Nice. And why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Dana, and I'm a huge fan of Austrian wine, so thank you guys so much for having me here this evening to talk about these fantastic wines. I work at Bethel Heights Vineyard. I'm the sales manager for all the direct sales there. But I have a background with Austrian wine. I helped open Gruner restaurant here in Portland and put together a list of heavily based white wines, German, Austrian, Alsatian, and some northeastern Italian things. So these wines are near and dear to my heart.
And that's kind of how we met. Like, I went to Gruner and I was just astounded by the wine list. Like, it's, you know, not only interesting, representing a lot of wines that you don't see every day, but I have yet to have a bad wine by the glass there. It's a lot of great stuff. So we started talking, and then she commented on the last Austrian show that we should do more interesting varietals. Talked to our friend on the East Coast. Thanks again, Constance, for hooking us up. And she sent us out some wines that we've never heard of before. So let's see how they taste. What's the first one?
It's like Stump the Chump tonight.
So
So both of these wines are by the producer Stadlmann, and Stadlmann is in the Tagelsteiner region. So it's a region of Austria that is just south of Vienna. And they say the name comes from all the thermal baths that run through the area, the Tagelsteiner region. So two wines from the same producer. The first wine is a Rotgipfler, is the grape variety, from the Tagelsteiner vineyard.
Wow.
So we'll give this one a try. Pass that down there.
Sure. And we were talking beforehand that the name comes from the color of the leaves, apparently.
Yeah, the leaves turn red right before harvest. Rot in the German language meaning red. And it's believed that this grape variety, I shouldn't say it's believed, the grape variety is a cross between Roter Veltliner and Traminer.
Okay.
So Traminer of the Gewürztraminer family, of course, and Roter Veltliner are very similar to Gruner Veltliner.
Is that a red grape? Or
it is actually a white grape.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a white grape, and a little bit, if you can believe it, spicier and earthier than a Gruner Veltliner. You cross the two and you get Rotgipfler.
Wow, awesome. Well, with my limited experience, I'd totally go Riesling blind on this. There is like that touch of richness, but then still some like bright minerality, a little bit of citrus going on, it seems like. Very inviting.
Yeah, it's a really pleasing nose, but I'm having a hard time coming up with descriptors for it, honestly. It's
I'm familiar with the grape, but if I weren't, I might lean a little bit towards French Sauvignon Blanc. There's a little bit of that to me.
It's got a little bit of citrus, but it's more like orangey than in like the lemony or lime sort of quality category. A little like some like fall leaves or something going on there in the nose too. It's like, kind of thing that's catching me. But yeah, a little bit of sweetness, really inviting.
Nice, wow. This is interesting and good.
So these guys they farm all organically at their estate, which is great, certified organic. And the vines for actually both of these wines are fairly old. The Rotgipfler, I believe, is older than 30 years old. The Zierfandler, which we'll taste, is 45 years old minimum on the vines.
Awesome. They
make some younger vine wines as well, but these two are really representative of the old wines that they make.
The richness is definitely coming through on the palate too. Really clean. It's not like rich, like heavy, like a dessert wine. It's just very full flavors with kind of like a round feel to them.
It starts off with some tropical flavor, but there's like something, I mean, the minerality comes up big time as you swallow it, like sort of past the mint palate, but like something almost herbal about it, like almost like a potpourri sort of thing without this sort of like a potpourri edge. Yeah, I'm stunned by it, but it's delicious. Like, it's really, really interesting wine. It's something completely unlike I've had before.
And the autumn leaves you're trying, probably the power of suggestion, but even on the palate, like there's kind of like that autumn leaf feel where it's like a bit of earthiness, a little bit of a heavier touch, but without compromising the clarity of the wine.
think too, I agree that the citrus is more orange or grapefruit leaning than it is lemony limey. It doesn't have like the same brightness kick that you would find like in a Gruner Veltliner or something else from Austria.
But still really strong, good
Yeah.
acidity throughout the entire
Absolutely.
thing, and then it's
Absolutely.
long finish with that acidity. Nice stuff, balanced, a little warm on the tongue.
Little bit, yeah.
A little warm on the tongue and in the throat. Breathing just a little bit of fire, but it's not bad.
And I'm getting a little bit of that like citrus rind, a little bit too, a little bit of structure. I think that kind of comes along with the alcohol for me. And again, it's not, I wouldn't describe it as a hot wine. Well, you can feel it.
Yeah.
Still delicious, pretty balanced, and like really intriguing, interesting flavors. I'll go 80 points on it.
I'm gonna
I
go.
like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 87. I like it too, but it's you know weird kind of putting that in context when you're the first time you're exposed to a type of wine. It's kind of out of the blue, and you're comparing it unfairly against different sorts of wine that are similar to it. So, you know, good stuff and interesting.
Am I supposed to give it a rating too?
Only if you want to, but final impressions is the
Right. Well, I think this wine is really fantastic, but that comes also from tasting some Rotgipfler in the past. But I think that this is nice, and I haven't tasted one that with vines this old. So I think that the wine definitely has a much more kind of developed flavor than other Rotgipflers that I've tasted in the past. And I think that this is an extremely interesting food white wine too. I think that maybe some of the heat, which I get as well, it's a 13.5% alcohol wine. I think some of that heat would be pulled back with food a little bit. But
yeah.
I'll be the outsider and give it 90 points.
All right, all right.
But I mean, you've tasted more of these wines than we have,
Exactly.
and so yeah, that's good to have your rating and your
Yeah. Yeah,
opinion
only
on it.
based off of tasting, a few of these wines in the past, but by no means am I an expert on Rotgipfler. There probably aren't very many of those.
yeah.
The Austrians that live in the Tagelsteiner region.
Yeah.
So the second wine is Zierfandler from the Mandel-Hoh vineyard. So these are, 45-year-old vines. They might even be a little older than that by this point. Yeah, this family's been farming this property since the late 1700s. So I think they're on the 7th or 8th
I
generation
just jumped
at
on
this
camera.
point. It's my fault. I influenced
Yeah.
it.
I would expect more of you, Dan.
Thanks.
Let me short here.
It's gonna be a hard time.
There you go. That's better.
Whoa, this is fascinating again too. Even on the rinse. That's incredible. And is this the same region?
Yep, same
Okay.
region. So these guys are kind of one of the hallmark families in the Tagelsteiner region. They only grow grapes here.
Oh.
And these grapes are, as far as I know, only grown in this region. So you're not going to find Rotgipfler and Zierfandler grown elsewhere in Austria. It could be that, some people are trying to plant them elsewhere, but to my knowledge, the wines that I've had of these varieties have only come from this part of Austria.
And does this come into Oregon ever?
Yeah, this producer is here in Oregon, and there's
Awesome.
2 or 3 others from the Tagelsteiner region that you can also find here, which is really exciting.
Yeah. So if this stuff intrigues you, talk to your favorite retailer. They can probably get some for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know which
Absolutely.
distributor has it?
Vine Merchants.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, Vine Merchants actually has all of the wine. I shouldn't say that. The 3 wines that the 3 producers that I'm familiar with, Vine Merchants carries all of them.
Sweet.
Now this I would
Wow.
pick as a Riesling in a blind lineup.
Yeah, almost
For
a
me.
little Alsatian leaning, I
Yeah.
think.
And again, like an incredible
Totally.
richness and like some deep, like tropical, almost a little bit of peachy sense to me, and a really strong earthy note that is just fascinating.
Yeah.
So
Much more like rich golden yellow color in the glass too than the Rotgipfler.
Definitely.
well, like sometimes like I've seen on the sort of like Alsatian Grand Cru Rieslings, like they'll let a little bit of botrytis be in the wines, and so you get a little bit of that earthy note, and this almost
Absolutely.
reminds me a little bit of that. Pretty light, but it's there. That earthy note that you're picking out is kind of like that. I don't know.
I know. I agree. It's like
Has some pretty apricot jam characteristics in there.
yeah, man.
This is an extremely pleasing note.
Great complexity.
Yeah.
Super light and clean on the. Wow, this is pretty awesome. This is, man, whoa, and it's long too. This is incredible. It reminds me in some ways of like white Bordeaux. There's like the richness kind of reminds me of Semillon that I've had. This is still, the flavors are still evolving in my mouth. This is incredible.
Yeah.
So it's got kind of like that heavy texture with the great clarity. It's not, again, not like a dessert wine. It's like this hint of richness, but a very refined structure.
It's kind of crazy how fruity it is initially, and then as soon as you swallow it, it turns completely earthy. At least for me, I mean, like the fruit drops out, but in a good way. It's just like this, like very interesting sort of like old wood. Not that there's oak in this, but I mean, it's like old wood leaf pile.
Yeah. I'm not sure about
Wild.
the Rotgipfler. I know that Zierfandler goes into large barrels, old barrels, maybe for like 8 months or something like that.
Okay.
That's my understanding. And you know, I'm not sure about the Rotgipfler, but I think it works with the wine for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, it
absolutely.
definitely doesn't come across as oaky, but I think that
No.
there's some really beautiful kind of mellow notes that come through as a result of that. That if you only put this in stainless, it would be pretty racy. So.
Man. Yeah,
Isn't that cool?
The roundness that sticks around, and then late I'm getting this kind of like blooming acidity, which never gets too powerful. It never really rips the mouth apart, but it dries things out. It's got this really nice, like to me, it's kind of like a lime touch to it, but it's really gentle. While these richer flavors kind of linger, I'm getting like, yeah, that earthy stuff that he was talking about. Kind of, to me, it reminds me a little bit of like winter vegetables, right? Like kind of like squash or a little bit of potato thing. Not super strong with all the flavors kind of working together, and it lasts for so long. This is like contemplative almost. I'm so impressed.
Yeah, and probably doesn't take much to convince you that these wines age for an incredibly long time. Long time.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I have a friend who imports Austrian wine, and she had the opportunity to taste, not with this producer, but another producer in Austria, some Zierfandlers and Rotgipflers that went back to the 80s that just were stunning, stunning wines. So
That's awesome.
acid carries them a long way in the fruit.
Right.
They're real fruit forward wines, so they can go a long time. So, and they're, depending on what market you're in, so reasonably priced. These are the kind of white wines that you just should buy up and drink a couple now and put some away and just see where they go.
And probably what, like $12, $15, $16?
Yeah, these guys at the single vineyard level might come in a little closer to like 22, something like
Still
that. But
ridiculous.
even for white wines that are ageable, it's hard to find the great Rieslings of the world at that price even anymore. So
Absolutely.
totally worth it. And I think that you can find the entry level, like the cuvées of these wines at $12 or $15 a bottle. So.
This is fantastic. The complexity, the balance, the length, the depth of flavor is all so on. Yeah, 91 points for me. If this was poured blind, somebody told me it was $50, I wouldn't quibble at all. I think it delivers. I think it delivers on par with a lot of wines at that price point. It's fantastic.
I completely agree with what Dan said. It's completely interesting, very balanced, and a very intriguing wine. 90 points for me. I really enjoy it. The length is awesome. So
92.
Nice. Give it some love.
Yeah.
I've been reading a lot of nerd. Right, you can go back and forth on scores all day. Apparently, if you're trying to make a mark for yourself, you have to, as talking about wine, you want really high scores because that gets a lot of attention.
I changed my mind. 98.
Yeah, there we go. See, like you can.
it's the highest score you've ever had on the show.
We'll invite James Stadlmann on next week. We'll see.
Awesome. Exactly.
No.
Jay Miller. Jay Miller.
Maybe.
Exactly. Are you watching?
Probably.
So what? So what got you into Austrian wine in particular? It's definitely kind of like a pretty nerdy niche.
Yeah. It's a nerdy niche I'm proud of.
Good. Yeah.
So.
Ask me more of the second one.
Zierfandler coming your way.
Let's drink.
So I would say, I worked for a local importer and distributor, and a big portion of the book at the time when I started working was devoted to Austrian and German wine. And I've always loved to drink the wines, but that's probably where I started getting the real, nerdy quotient. And then the opportunity to go work at Gruner and write the wine list there, I think, is what really put me over the edge. And just the opportunity to work with so many interesting wines that were in the market, but just weren't out there and people weren't exposed to them.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like, and I have a great love for Gruner Veltliner, and I felt like it was starting to hit its stride, and everybody knew about Gruner, and you could buy it at the grocery store, and it was really accessible. So it was time to kind of start thinking about some of these other grape varieties that are really, really interesting and sort of unsung. And, you know, again, these guys, for them, Rotgipfler and Zierfandler, they've been growing them for so long that it's like old hat, but for people like us, it's sort of a new thing. So to be kind of one of the people that gets to talk to customers about these wines and sell these wines was just, the opportunity was too great. So yeah,
A lot of fun.
That's awesome.
I guess short show today.
Yeah.
Even though we had a great guest, we've only got 2 wines to talk about. So at the end, time to ask a question. Hopefully we get some responses, people.
okay. This is putting the pressure on.
It's on right now.
Okay. So there is a sparkling rosé that's made in southern Italy. Southern Austria, since we're talking about Austria. And it has a specific name, so I'm not looking for the name of a producer or the name of the grape necessarily, but what they call that wine. Sparkling rosé, southern Italy. There's only one.
Italy or Austria?
Southern Austria, I keep saying
Yeah.
Italy.
Okay.
Southern Austria.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
So
There's
see
your
if you guys
question.
can come up with it.
Thanks for watching. You know, give our guests some respect. Answer the questions. Be great.
Thanks
so
a
much
lot.
for coming.
Thanks
See you
guys.
later.
See you guys next time.